life up. I would much rather be single than stuck in something that isn't fulfilling. I would much rather be single than married to a partner that it isn't equitable. I would much rather be single than be lonely in my relationship. We treat singledom as if it is this curse, as if you are unpicked or unwanted or undesirable. And it's like, maybe she just didn't settle.
So how's your dating life going? It isn't. You haven't been on any dates? No. Met anybody? No. Are you even on dating apps? No. Plan on getting on dating apps? No. So you're just happy being single? No. Do you have a will to live? No.
I'm 30 and I still live at home with my parents. I'm sure some of you will be turned off by this, or some of you may be able to relate, but I thought it would be interesting to kind of talk about the way we live life now compared to 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Growing up, living at home past like going to school, like university, college, whatever it may be, was seen as like embarrassment and like super wrong. Obviously, like when I grew up, it was like you go to university, you get your degree, then you get a job straight away, and then you follow those steps, like meet your partner, get a dog, get your house, have your kid, do all those things. But I've never been that person. Like I have never ever followed the steps, societal steps that have been kind of like put into me. And I guess what my parents did when they were growing up. So for me, that just like wasn't the way things happened. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that are following those steps and they're really, really happy. And there's nothing wrong with that, honestly. But I feel like there's still a lot of people that did follow those steps and they're not happy. Maybe they got married really young and they found out that their partner and themselves grew apart, or whatever it may be. Like, zero judgment, you do you. But for me, that just wasn't, what happened. My 20s were like kind of different. And the first like 6 of them really were spent being ill. And so there was no kind of like thought of me living by myself. I obviously very wanted my own place, but I never could afford to do it. And I didn't see myself really having a future, so I didn't invest in my future. I didn't have a savings or anything like that. I just spent money because I didn't think I would make it past the age of 25. So for me, like setting up savings accounts for my future home or apartment or whatever just like wasn't a thing. And I'm sure like maybe there'll be someone else who can relate, but I just never did that. And I'm 30, but I spent the last 5 years of my life running a business and I didn't really make any money out of it. And there's so much to go into that, but that's the reality of kind of where my life is at right now. And you can say whatever you want, but that's the cards I've been dealt, so that's what I'm working with. And then I absolutely want my own place. I don't want to live with my parents forever. I'm super, super driven to get my own place by the end of this year, but we'll see what happens. If I don't hit that goal, it's not going to be the end of the world. I'll be 31 at the end of this year, and obviously I will want to be living by myself, but life is really expensive right now, especially if you live in Canada. Then you know the housing market is absolutely bonkers. Like, you can't find a nice house under 500K anymore. And most houses are like 800 plus now, and rent is also ridiculous. Like, to rent by myself is like 2,500 plus. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that can afford that, but there's a lot of people that can't because that's just rent. And then the grocery prices here are absolutely insane. Like, if you're from Canada, then you know inflation has really done us hard, especially when it comes to housing and groceries and gas. And those are just like the necessities. Like, that's not adding in like experiences, life, anything like that. So it can be super discouraging to kind of like be at a state where obviously I want to be living by myself, but I can't afford to right now, and that is my reality. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people that are in similar situations. Maybe they've gone through some major hardships in life and they've had to move back home with their parents while they figure things out. And there's nothing wrong with that. I used to be super ashamed, super embarrassed for my whole 20s at the fact that I was still living at home and just thought that like people would think of me differently. But it's really cool. And I honestly don't see a ton of people online around my age who are still living at home. And that's just like, I'm not getting served that. I'm getting served like the people that are either with their partners or have their own apartments or have their own houses already, mostly in the US, but in Canada, I'm not seeing that. And I'm just not finding like late 20s, early 30s who are still living with their parents. So I want to be that person for other people that also aren't finding that. And I wanted to like kind of share this perspective that I'm kind of coming into realization now. And a lot of people have been telling me about this, is that this time spent with my parents is truly a gift. Like, I've become so close to my parents. My mom is literally my best friend. I love spending time with them. We eat dinner together every night, which may not be normal for someone who's 30 with their parents. And that's just like my reality. And I know one day I'll be able to look back on this last, like, how long have I been living at home? Since I was 23. Last like 7-8 years. And be like super grateful at the time I got with my parents, because obviously I know, which I hate this, is that they're not going to live forever. I'm not going to live forever. And I don't know how long, right? We have no idea how long we're all going to be on this earth. But the fact that I got this extra time with them that maybe I wouldn't have gotten before if I had met someone or if I was living somewhere else. Like, I don't know. I think there's a different perspective we can take on living at home with our parents when we're in our like late 20s, 30s, late 30s, whatever it may be, and just kind of let go of the shame and the embarrassment. And if you want to reflect that on me, that's fine, but I'm pretty secure and I'm working towards it. And I know there's a lot of other people that are too. So if you're also living at home with your parents and you're 30 or late 20s or 20s, whatever it may be, and you feel like you're behind, you're not behind. You're on your own journey and you're following your own life journey, and you can't compare to anybody else. So I just wanted to let you know that.